All good?
Yeah, got it, mate.
Cool. Anything you needed from me? You're all good. I'll obviously intro. Assuming Gayana's here, we'll give her a chance to introduce herself too. Yeah. All good.
No worries, mate.
Cool. No worries.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Hello. Hi. Sorry we missed you on the 21st. I was on a volcano and reminded me. Sorry.
No.
Hello, Kishal. Nice to see you.
Hello.
Hello. Apologies.
No,
last week.
no stress. It was obviously unfortunate circumstances, but thank you for finding the time to reschedule. At the end of the day, for us, it's just about having the conversation, whether it was a couple of weeks ago or today, it won't really make a massive impact. So
Cool.
Look, Gayana, obviously for you, this is kind of the first time doing this, so I might give you a little bit of background as to how the call is going to run and what the purpose of this whole thing is, to provide some context.
Okay.
But generally, you don't need to have prepared anything. It's really about, for Brett and Kushal, they're trying to build a product. They're obviously running a startup. And so at the end of the day, the approach that we take to building tech should be really driven based off of the needs of the market and the problems and pain points that you face. So rather than you having to go and proactively look in the market for something that will do what you want, we want to facilitate a conversation where you can tell the founders what causes you difficulties. And they may not be things that Brett and Kushal are working on, but if they are, that gives them the validation to keep going with the next steps and the following steps to build this product out. And eventually, hopefully, we end up with something that solves problems for you and something that Brett and Kushal can go and build a business off of. That's the whole point of being here. So in terms of today, it's about learning about how you work with respect to your clients around the excess leave liability space, around the employee reward and recognition space, because they are somewhat intertwined. So Brett, we'll have a bunch of questions for you. Just be open, be honest. At the end of the day, if you tell them what you think they want to hear, then it might not actually help them build a better product. So just be honest and tell it exactly how it is and what really causes you pain. And when things are like, it's a minor pain, it's not really a big problem, that's good to know as well.
Okay. Yeah, as I explained, as I recall, when we had our first meeting, and I said I kept deferring to you because it's what you're dealing with is seeing that clients are accruing leave, and you've drawn our attention to needing to help our clients manage that a little more closely. So we're thinking of ways to step into more of a payroll advisory role with you leading it. So with respect to leave, which is accruing, and you're letting them know to start saving, to keep an account to pay for it or to get them to take their leave. But so that's why I brought you into this, because I thought you would find this interesting. You are having those conversations with clients now. Yes.
Cool. Awesome. So what I might do is actually just let Brett and Kushal introduce themselves. Obviously, Electra, you've already introduced yourself, and Gayana, we know a little bit about. I've obviously met you before, but maybe just after they've introduced themselves, if you can kind of give a quick intro as to expanding on what Electra's talking about there in terms of your role within the business, just the 30-60 second thing. But I'll hand over to Brett first, and then and I'll let you know when to go. Cool.
All right.
Hi, Gayana. It's great to finally get to pick your brain and learn from you, which is I'm really excited about. My background is not payroll, not finance. I come from the military of all places, ex-special operations, but for our side of things, the leave space for me, my passion around the area and how we stumbled across it came from my experience, both personally with burnout, churn out of organizations, and then also seeing that in fast growth tech startups, government, large enterprise, and all those sorts of things, are working with teams over the last sort of 8 years or so, helping people manage burnout, getting people on those sorts of wellness routines that help for them. So that's where I originally came into the Antler Startup Accelerator at the start of this year, where I was lucky enough to meet Kushal. And we sort of got together from my interest around the burnout and churn space and Kushal's experience, which he'll explain. And then we sort of found this correlation between the way people use their leave, their burnout risk, and then off the back of the big tailwinds of COVID and lockdowns and stuff, the excess leave liability issue that you've probably got a bit of experience seeing. So that's really quickly my background. I'll throw it over to Kushal now.
Hello, Gayana. So I'm Kushal. So I'm the co-founder here at BitLeave. So I come from a very technology-heavy background, but one thing which I've always been very passionate about is providing, very good employee experiences. Having worked, especially within the HR sort of technology space. Yeah, I think Brad has given you a good background on, and we met at the Entler program, and I'm looking forward to this session to learn more from you guys, and hopefully have some good tips for us. Cool.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Over to you, Gayana.
Very nice to meet you both. Thank you for that. That's really interesting to hear. My background, I've worked with Electra for 5 years now, and I've stepped into the payroll officer role and dealing with our clients and helping them manage all their payroll issues, and leave comes into that. So one of our clients, for example, is a not-for-profit who would like to retain more staff, and with that, I guess, we have better ideas of how to use their leave, and rather than just accrue it. We do always let them know how much leave to set aside, that sort of thing. However, how much they understand of it, I don't know. We just tell them with our clients. So.
No, that's great. That's great. So that's probably a good place to start. But look, we have a few questions we're keen to talk through. But I'll let Brett ask the questions, and I'll maybe just jump in from time to time. So yeah, go for it, Brett.
No problems. Gayana, you made, like, you already really opened the conversation with working with clients. So it sort of like ties us into the first little intro. So we'd love to sort of understand your process, what you look for and those types of things. And feel free to just add any experiential proof as well, like you mentioned, client observations and stuff like that. But right now, do you work with clients actively around the leave and excess leave liability space as a part of your day-to-day?
It's
Well, I should clarify, we were public accountants who have changed our business model to become more sort of bookkeeping and management accounting and advisory oriented. And so we're discovering what our clients need from us and stepping into that role. Gayana upskilled with a diploma of payroll this year, and she's been handling the bookkeeping and administration for a lot of our clients, internal finance support for the businesses. But yeah, it's just now that really she's stepping into that role. Like in the new year, we're employing some more bookkeepers to let Gayana step into that sort of more payroll management and advisory role.
yes.
From next year. So
I'm still learning as well. So.
The question.
Awesome. No, this is really good. Let's talk about that then. What's driven this business need? Like, talk to me about any sort of points in the journey where you've gone, actually, this is something we need to build within the business. Talk me through that journey.
The change of business, do you mean, from the way up from?
Yeah, so to get to this point where you're stepping into this advisory role, you're going to build a team of bookkeepers underneath you. What's led to this? Why has the pivot happened?
I might help. Just clients, just scaling, needing more, not finding the staff they need with the skills internally, like them needing to put their own staff to more sort of revenue generation activities. So they're outsourcing more and more to us, and we're seeing payroll becoming a big part of that. And so when we have our fortnightly calls, our monthly board meeting sit-ins, where we're pointing out areas that require improvement or areas of concern. And so payroll, human resources, where we're working out how much of that we need to step into and where we can provide value to our clients where they don't have the skills internally or any other support. Like they might sign up to EmploySure or what's the other one that
Happy HR?
now what's the one that 107 uses?
EmploySure.
EmploySure,
EmploySure.
but it seems like the advice they get from them is kind of limited. They need more sort of
More
personal
guidance.
attention.
Yes.
More
Okay.
great ideas from us. Solutions from us.
What are those key, are there any key themes that you're kind of seeing in those conversations? You mentioned you're presenting to those meetings, some key points. What are there common themes that keep coming up?
Generally that they're just accruing a lot of leave and not planning for it. They're not letting people take time off. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's a lot of what I'm seeing. And when we do raise that, saying, hey, this person has a lot of leave, they're like, oh, that's okay. They don't seem to be too concerned. They don't seem to even want to have that conversation with their staff. It's like, but there's things you can do around this. Is there a reason why they're having this much leave? Are they planning a big holiday? Like, they should be having open communication.
Are they refusing to take leave?
Are they going to be leaving soon? Like,
Why?
If they took leave, would you notice certain things?
Yeah. Why do you think do you have any evidence as to why they don't necessarily want to act on that?
not as yet. No, this is still pretty new that I've found.
Evidence, what would that be? Like,
I suppose, if they said to you, oh, no, that's not a problem because of X, then I guess that would be.
okay.
I guess in that one instance would have been the director trusted that employee. He's like, no, that's okay. They're a good member. They're a good employee, and they trust them. So I'm like, okay.
Okay.
You still be concerned? There's a lot of leave here.
And so where does that trust come from? Is that from like a tenure element, a relationship element, or is it a blind trust where it's more the director just has got bigger things to focus on? Where do you see that sort of trust coming from?
Lisa can probably.
This is Lisa Wilson. Very closely with Diana talking to the clients
Yes.
on these topics.
So sometimes Lisa might be jumping in here as well.
With one of our clients, one of their contracts actually specifies, so if they've got a 3-month contract, it'll be full-time and they'll accrue leave, but they're not allowed to take it because the project is so intense, they need to finish it. So unless it's extenuating circumstances, the leave accrues and gets paid out when their contract ends. Unless
still
it's
industry.
unless it's over Christmas where they close the office for a couple of weeks. But that's one instance where the leave balances do get quite high because they are restricted by their contract on when and how long they can take leave. Others, I think, leave isn't taken because there's not enough staff to facilitate the projects that are happening. So they just hold back until the time's right. That whole, I'll do this when I've done this, like sort of
Time management.
Is that a common problem in an inability to take leave because of a lack of, I'm hearing a lack of capacity?
I feel like that's probably one of the biggest issues.
Is that what we are observing though?
Yeah.
Because I think pretty much all of our clients are understaffed.
Yeah.
It's common.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what are the impacting circumstances for making them understaffed? Talent, workload, inbound work growth. What are you seeing from the client side?
I think it's a combination of everything.
Depends on the industry. For the not-for-profits, it's because their staff members go and look for higher paid work in commercial because the cost of living's gone up.
Mhm.
Film industry, it's very competitive for the talent.
Yes, it is.
Is that the main reason? We deal with creative industries that may not pay as much too.
I think,
Yeah.
capacity is probably one of the biggest factors that prevent leave being taken.
And most of the people working for these companies that we work with social enterprises and creative industries, their employees really love it there, so they just sort of keep working. It's purpose driven. It's what they love doing. So
Yeah.
you
Okay.
say an okay general statement?
I think so.
Yeah. So like our particular clients may not be across the board.
Yeah, they're like a niche.
Yeah.
Yep. And what are the outside of, like, because they can't take leave, they're too busy. What are they doing outside of the leave space in order to try and fix the problem currently?
Well, currently it's probably hard to say because we're coming up to Christmas, so they're putting in some closure times, that sort of thing, but that's just mandatory over the Christmas break. A couple of weeks. They're not really, they're almost at burnout point themselves. So they're like, oh, we'll look at it next year. So like, let's just wrap this year up and look at it next year. But
they do stagger leave. So if there is going to
The
be
film company.
the social enterprise, so they'll stagger leave so that there's, you know, both like the general manager and the director aren't on leave at the same time. Unless obviously with the closure. So they do communicate quite a bit that the higher level staff aren't on leave at the same time.
Yeah. And then, so going back to the sort of questions, or outside of leave, what are they doing to help manage this issue at the moment as well? Have you seen anything else on the talent attraction, retention side that they're using?
I've not seen much yet, so I'm not sure.
The main thing they're doing is budgeting for salary increases so that they can retain the staff and not. They also track it month to month to make sure that they've got provisions set aside. So they've got separate bank accounts.
Because staff can just leave.
Yeah.
They're ready, they're prepared for payouts.
Yes.
Yeah.
So are they doing that? They're keeping cash aside for this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that on your recommendation, or were they doing that already?
They were previously providing for it, and we've just
It was recommended by their board.
yeah.
Okay.
But they also do have an agreement where they can pay out leave. So there have been instances where if the board have agreed that the leave balance is too high, that the members will get paid out.
They can do it.
And is that, just out of curiosity on that, is that an award base or is that an enterprise agreement arrangement they have?
They're individual agreements.
Okay. Yeah, no problems. So you sort of alluded to like the bank account and accounting for like the leave provision or the cash out ability. What systems are you currently using or clients using to help manage the problem?
We use Xero for our main accounting, and that integrates with, for example, for this not-for-profit Deputy, which is their employee software. So they do their time tracking through Deputy, so leave balances get accrued, and we manage that through Xero. They're through Xero reporting with them.
And providing monthly management reports to them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
sorry, go Jack.
Just very quickly, do you guys add the leave liabilities to the financials?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Does Deputy do that automatically?
No.
No, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, and okay, let's talk about that process. It sounds like there's obviously deputies taking a large amount of the workload and doing the calculations. Talk me through what the difficulties are around the current process for you, if any.
There's not really any.
No, not at the moment.
Pretty simple process.
Okay.
It just feeds through the API integration. So
Yeah, onto the employee's annual leave balance inside Xero, or
yes,
is
okay. Yes, it does. Yeah, so all that the annual leave accruing basis is all through Xero. Yeah.
Okay, Xero payroll, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and your manual, like with the reporting process, what's that process involve itself to get this on the management report and give it visibility to the customer?
Manual journal at the end of the month with an automatic reversal on the next day.
Okay, and when currently, like, how much time are you spending across all of your clients to manage this type of process?
Well, we're only tracking it for a couple of the clients because a lot of for the larger clients that do need it tracked, and
we should probably do it for a couple more, and I think we'll do it for others coming in the new year.
Yeah.
And you mentioned
the payroll's accurate. It doesn't take too long to do the journals because we've got repeating journals set up, so it's already drafted. And then it's just a matter of transposing the amounts across to that and then reconciling it. So I'm probably not the right person to ask how long it takes because I've done it for so long. It's quite easy.
No, that's all right. You mentioned the words large as well. Oh, sorry, I must have jumped on top there. You mentioned the word large. Like you're saying large with this problem. What sort of employee headcount would you define as large or worthy of this sort of this service that you mentioned about wanting to roll out to other clients?
Excuse me, I have a RHCQ here.
Sure.
I think the businesses that we've got, they're large for us. They're not large in terms of other businesses. They've probably got between 30 and 40 staff.
Okay.
And then the other ones that we would be looking to roll out would be between 10 and 20. Because they have got full-time staff. We've got a lot of sort of sole director businesses that we don't track it for because it's not, you know, they're not going to really fuss too much whether their leave gets paid out at the end. So
It's their company, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, for the ones with employees, we definitely track it.
And you mentioned the smaller employee-based companies. Why do you feel like you need to start offering them this service as well?
More awareness for them. I think making sure that they've got the provisions there. We insist that all of our clients have got a separate bank account for their tax and super obligations, separate to their trading account. And the main reason for that is we don't like dealing with clients that are always worried about what the ATO is owed. We like, you know, forward thinking businesses. So if it's separate, it's incidental. They've already got the money set aside. And by implementing the annual leave, it's you know, an addition to what we're already doing with their other obligations. So we're very forward focused, not retrospective.
Yeah.
What made you in particular around the obviously doing payroll is one aspect, but actually going and talking to them and saying, hey, you have this accruing leave balance that is getting large, and starting to have those conversations. Was there anything that triggered you to start having those conversations?
I don't think so.
No.
I think it's
It's just been a natural progression.
just talking to them about everything and their accounts.
Maybe some of their concerns are around cash flow and managing their obligations might be.
I think it was cash flow hits, like having to pay out leave entitlements unexpectedly.
Yeah, well, I think when someone left, it was a bit of a shock to them, like, oh, we have to be more aware of this, you know. So
yeah, is that something that actually happened? Somebody had to pay out a big amount
for a couple, but it's not been a
okay.
yeah,
Okay, cool.
But you know, when you have an instance where they are shocked, goes, oh well, maybe we'll implement for other people, and then it prevents them having the same issue.
So we're just doing this across the board to see, like we make
Preemptive.
assumptions that that's going to be a common problem for business owners. So let's put something in place to help them.
that's right. Try to preempt it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Do you have any more questions around the process side of things, Jack?
No, that's cool.
That's really insightful. It really sort of explains priorities and sort of where you guys are trying to make it sort of fit within the business and the service offering. So let me take a couple of, about a minute to explain what we're trying to achieve. And you can give me the feedback around that as well. So the BitLeave concept itself, it's not the simple fact of letting people cash their leave out. It's about getting people to take their leave in a way that's meaningful for them. You mentioned the burnout piece, and you mentioned obviously paying out leave. They're use cases that are obviously employee specific based on their needs and time and tenure. So BitLeave is designed around increasing visibility for organizations to look at those cash flow risks and burnout risk within the organisation. So we proactively track and provide real-time data where the liabilities are at based on individuals, team, and seniority. So you can see where in the business has the problems. And then as we build further, it'll be about forecasting and getting ahead of the problem before it becomes an issue. The functionality off the back end, it's all about automating that management process where employees, managers, and business owners get notifications around their leave liabilities and where they're sitting on a regular basis. So automating that reporting function you mentioned. And then also we've got the integration back into payroll for people to take their leave or cash their leave out if it's something that they feel like they would like to do based on the rules of the business as well. So it's a win-win on both sides. It's not just cash the leave out and then leave the business to deal with it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. That sounds good.
Yeah. So it sounds like you mentioned the EmploySure group that a couple of customers use, the advice being sort of ambiguous or not entirely useful. We found from our journey, leave management and for what you mentioned sometimes falls into the grey area between like finance, payroll, and then HR. Why do you feel that is? Or do you agree firstly? And if yes, why do you feel that is?
It's our risk, isn't it? It's just needing to understand where we're overstepping into HR advice, where we need to investigate this more.
Yeah.
We need to find a good HR partner.
Yeah. So I do agree that it is a bit of a grey area between those three functionalities, payroll, finance, and HR, definitely. And the clients just lean on us going, we don't know. Like the clients don't know.
Solutions.
Yeah, come to us. We're not HR advisors. And that's all they say.
Process it. We're not giving you advice.
Yeah, so it makes it really tricky that you can't answer the questions that the clients are giving you sometimes, you know, because of that.
So if we had we're looking for a good HR
Yes, we are
partner
still
in the new
looking.
year so that we can decide who says what.
Yeah, okay. And what are the questions your clients are asking?
They ask us for contracts.
Yeah, a lot of it is on the onboarding side when they start a new employee process. You know, they'll give us half the information and we can kind of compass them together. No, I need everything. So getting all that detail together, and then, you know, it's even to the point of which awards are they on, you know, just they're getting better with it, but when they're first starting out, they're not really sure what to do. And then it comes to, you know, are they an employer, are they a contractor, going through all the nitty-gritty details of that.
Okay, and then with those questions, with the leave and entitlements area, are there any common questions you get from your clients that you feel like you can't answer?
I don't think I've received any curly ones so far.
I was just generally around contractual matters where we have to refer them back to.
Yeah, it's usually
The lawyer.
about something more specific with their contracts than specifically about leave.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. And then if we talk about like displaying those balances, making this data available to you as advisors, would that make your life easier if you could see that data that's in a way that helps you provide timely advice, feedback, and those types of things?
I think so.
I think with our monthly reporting process, it would be very good for Guyana to be able to, or fortnightly reporting. Or yeah, I mean, it just does makes clients more sticky when you have more to report to them. Otherwise, they don't just see what you're processing in the background, but if you can show them.
Yeah, and how would that be displayed for you? How would you get maximum value out of something like that?
Service provider here.
That would be in our reporting, so that'd be through Fathom.
Yeah, we send a monthly report to them each month.
But a lot of the times lately they've just come back saying, oh, this is great, but we need more. So I think if that could be a tailored way, you know, in that report through Fathom, you know, to maybe highlight the leave balances and give them more data about that, maybe rather than what it's currently showing, might give them more incentive to.
Okay. And what's it currently showing?
Sorry,
What data? Yeah, what data is Fathom currently showing around leave?
it just shows the value.
The
as a
dollar value
dollar value.
across total employee base? Okay.
Not full time, but yeah. But we only report the annual leave in that
Yeah.
provision, because obviously sick leave isn't paid out, you know,
Mhm.
when they leave, so.
Should we be looking at sick leave? No, doesn't matter.
So,
I guess you could.
so with the we talk about displaying that data. How would you see that being displayed in a better way? What would you like to see? How would it look?
How would it look?
Compact.
Maybe in a comparison way would be good. Like, I don't know, is there a way to, this is kind of just thinking outside the box, but what a good scenario would look like to what a bad scenario would look, and then they could compare it with their data that they have. I don't know.
Compared to the
Like an average
the other
or
stuff or expectations, or
maybe against expectations would be good to
yeah. I mean, if
their
they've got
workflow.
if they've got an idea of, you know, if they've got some ideas of what it should be.
I'm curious to know, have you guys tried at all to do this yourself? Provide more granular, detailed information on leave balances to your clients?
Well, we're thinking about it.
But you haven't tried it as of yet.
No, we're just flagging when it's becoming outside the norm and trying to surface it, you know, trying to give the clients visibility so that they can make decisions. And
is there more that you actually need? Is that enough what you're giving them?
oh no, we're curious what BitLeague does. You know, what can we do?
Well,
Okay.
I guess BitLeave is trying to build something.
That's what we tell clients. Like, clients have targets and they have benchmarks. They have they can see what's the norm, like from past activity in their business. So what we do is we compare the results for each month against that criteria, that data, so, and show variances. So yeah, something like Gayana said, comparisons.
Okay, so putting like what it could look like aside, how would you leverage it to add more value?
Oh, well, firstly, the stickiness, like it's just oversight, isn't it? It's supporting your business, it's supporting the management to be able to track that thing that they don't have to track, that they can just get the information given to them that they can act on, decide, make decisions based on. So, sorry, what was the question?
Yeah, it's like, how would you either yourselves earn more money, or what value add would you derive from it, and what services could you provide?
It's going to make us be able to offer a payroll service with a difference. So we're going to sort of detach payroll from our sort of monthly services and have it as a standalone sort of add-in where there's and build more value into it with a HR partner, and like we're the managers of this service for you.
Refer to
yes, and is leave a problem for you? Then has it, you know, I can see when I onboard a business, review a business, I can see where the problems are first in the initial immersion. If I find out the leave is a problem, then I can say, well, we can manage that problem for you and help solve it with this, you know, service inclusion.
Yeah, okay, excellent.
Trying to figure out how to sort of beef that up.
Yep, that makes a lot of sense. Actually, I might miss that question around deal. I had a random question in there, but I'll miss that. So, from what the limited information we've told you about BitLeave, how do you think it could help your clients?
Well, my understanding of BitLeave, if I recall, and I don't remember a lot since before my 3 weeks off, is that you could convert your leave to benefits. So some creative options for excess leave.
So I think at a high level, I mean, Brett kind of just explained at a high level, but just to clarify, it's more about Brett, you could probably say this better than me, so maybe you should say it. But
Yeah.
yeah, leave management and cashing out leave, and yeah.
There's three elements to the platform without giving too much away. One is forecasting and intelligence, which is around cash flow and burnout risk we've already mentioned. The next is the automation and cash out functionality. That's including the HR wellness risk of people taking leave versus cashing it out. And then the third piece is the leave as a currency component where you can award time in lieu, bonus leave, and then they can do various things with it. But that's more of a conceptual thing. We're only playing with some very basic functionality in the near future around time in lieu management, because that's horrible inside Xero and those types of things. Unpaid time in lieu specifically, where people are getting credit for doing overtime, but it's not recorded and no one ever gets to use it. There is a whole play around benefits, and as you'd probably know, with a monetary value attached to leave, there can be a large amount of latitude you can give the product. But that's where we won't be sort of digging right in that until we get heard sort of like your opinions and thoughts and people like yourselves commenting on what would help you in your business.
Yeah, well, it just fits right into the sort of business advisory role. It's an area that I think is being underserviced. The cash flow, I mean, it's most businesses' biggest or second biggest expense, and it needs to be managed. It needs to be forecasted. It needs to be, planned, targets, ratios. And so, yeah, we need more. I mean, I do a basic kind of wages as a percentage of sales report every fortnight for hospitality clients and for others. So, if we can build on that, we can put a better number on it.
If this opportunity to talk with Brett and Kushal hadn't come up and you never heard about BitLeave, did you have plans in place already to extend what you were offering within your payroll service?
Yes.
What were those plans? What was the thought process?
Get Gayana doing payroll, like just managing the payroll and advertising that as a standalone service.
Yep.
And I'm building a team in the Philippines in the new year.
Yep.
To support bookkeeping, and so that Gayana can really concentrate on that. And partnering with a HR provider, HR person to cover the rest. Sorry, I just really need a drink of water.
No, that's right. That's right.
So you explain.
I suppose what we're trying to get at here, Gayana, is that if this was a really big problem or a really big pain point, I imagine you would try and solve it yourself, whether that's with Excel or whether that's with Fathom. And so there's a risk, right, that Brett and Kushal,
that in Excel, really.
There's a risk that Brett and Kushal could go and build something and spend 3 years of their life building this, and then it's a nice to have add-on for your payroll services, and then very quickly your clients don't respond to it, they don't really care about it, and you guys stop paying for it, and these guys have invested 3 years building it.
Right, yeah. Well,
so that's where I'm trying to
get our clients in the tools. Like, we just give them reports. We don't generally invite them to Fathom, or we get annoyed with them if they get too involved in Xero. It's like,
yeah, we try to get them to
stay out of it. We wouldn't have a platform that we would share with them, but we as advisors, we provide the reports, whether that's in a meeting or through a Loom video.
Yeah, I suppose the same thing goes. If you were including this leave information in those reports, and then the clients didn't care about it or they didn't do anything with it, eventually you might say, why are we paying for BitLeave? Let's cut this from our service. We don't need it. It's not adding value. So that's what I'm trying to understand is this really adding value to the point you would pay for it? Or is it a nice to have as part of your overall payroll service?
Well, our payroll service is really just processing it and taking care of things and relationship managing the HR, the rest of the HR service, and some reporting on ratios, which would be in Excel. But if you've got and like Lisa's manual calculations onto the reports or manual journals in Xero, but I don't know, like if we can beef that up a bit with another platform that makes it easier for us to have. Because when clients see it all, like if there was a payroll report every fortnight or month as part of our reporting process, it could be helpful, like that's separate from
from the rest of the business and not just at profit and loss. That's actually
Yeah, I
maybe
know.
payroll specific.
I just got back from overseas. My head's not quite back in this business yet.
I guess if it was a tool that we would add on that would compare the data that we have, that it's an extra check, would be, I think we could use that and use it into our business.
I mean, is it just a tool that managers leave? Is that?
So does it allow you to convert your leave to like other incentives? So like I'm reading the website very quickly.
Is that something that your clients want or need?
I think there could be a use for it for some of them.
I feel like everybody, I mean, for us personally, we have quite a bit of flexibility within our workspace. You know, if there's something pressing, we start earlier, finish early, like whatever.
Well,
We just make sure our hours are done. Like whether we get that done between 9 and 5 or 6 and 2.
Oh, that's another thing. Yeah, a lot of workplaces are becoming more flexible, aren't they?
So
that's getting harder to manage.
Like I'm interested to know what BitLeave would do to allow more flexibility in that. Like how would it manage that? Does it convert leave to money or
time in lieu?
I'm going to be annoying and ask, is that what you want? Is that what your clients are asking for? That's what I'm getting. Yeah.
About us individually. And then how that would extend to other businesses.
Our clients don't know what they want.
We have to tell them.
They just want us to relieve their pain.
So do you tell them they need to be able to provide their clients a way to cash out leave, or do you guys have that conversation with them?
I tell them that they need to continually sort of update their budget forecast for employment costs and predict when the leave has to be paid out. So, you know, we're updating budget forecast every 6 to 8 weeks with our clients. And so it'll just come into that conversation. Anything that can help us to provide more information and suggestions and I haven't quite put my head around what BitLeave is or does. We're trying to create a more valuable sort of offering around payroll.
Cool.
That's why I was in what you're doing.
Let's do this selection. Let's take you through a quick spin so you guys can visualize. Now we're V1. So you mentioned the time piece, something we're tracking in the back end. It's not a now thing. And measuring time on flexibility. That is something we are looking at. We have a couple of meetings with particularly people in your professional service industry. It seems like it's an emerging trend with remote work because we feel like the time and leave theft component hasn't been measured across the last 2.5 years.
With our employees in different time zones.
So
and
that
time as well.
That Manila-based employment or growth thing is something like we looked at, but we'll shelve that for now because that is something we'd love to talk about, but that's not really the focus of where we're at right now, product level. Let's show you what the product is at the V1 stage right now. When I can find the thing, where is it? There it is. Okay, I got our own spreadsheet here. I got the wrong. Oh, why does the zero thing get in the? I mean the Zoom thing get in the way. All right. Okay. Have you got our dashboard here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So this is our V1. This plugs directly into Xero. Now a dashboard has all of those key stats you've mentioned that people need to be anticipating, which is at this very base level. We have the average salary, the total leave liabilities that's sitting inside Xero right now, your organizational headcount. Where that will head in the future will be forecasting based on a couple of important things like churn, salary, pay rises, headcount increases, and those sorts of things. So you can advise your client if they are going through a rapid growth phase, you can tell them what the increase in liabilities and the outcome will potentially be so they can be forecasted appropriately. For this one's a director in there. We've still got a couple of bugs working out, but fundamentally, if someone has excess leave, they'll get their own tile here or their leave. It'll come up with days, excess days, and the cash out value once they hit excess leave. They have the option to cash out their leave or take their leave. Really simple sort of stuff. Cash out leave for you, Guyana, like if you've read the national employment standards around cashing leave out, we take it all the way through to the contracts being signed between both parties. And then you get in your inbox a signed contract where you can then go do the cash out. Long term, we're actually going to be doing that whole suite of cash where it gets added to the pay run, super and tax is taken into consideration, which is legally required, right? Underneath our very first version of the dashboard, we show the top leave balances in the organisation. It shows the department which they're in. So then you can provide that surgical intervention and say, well, it's actually your directors that carry the most leave, or it's your junior staff that carry the most leave from X, Y, and Z. So then instead of doing blanket all emails, you can actually provide the right intervention on the right employee population. So from here, you can then see by department. So the average leave per group, once again, providing the right advice instead of blanket all advice. And then your direct reports, if anyone is a manager, you can see who's coming up to excess leave, so on and so forth, to proactively have that discussion. Does the dashboard make sense?
Yes. Yes, no, I like that.
Some of the other things in the background, what we do is our thresholds. This is actually creates the compliance for national awards, modern awards, sorry, national employment standards and enterprise agreements. We can limit the cash out every 12 months. So nearly all modern awards are 10 days maximum. So you hard code that so the employee never breaches a cash out effectively. So you don't have to worry about compliance. You can set your excess leave threshold based on what your clients want. So if they say, no, 20 days isn't a worry for us, it's more like 30, 40 days. You can actually programmatically adjust that inside the platform. And then that plays into our email templates. So for the business owner, they get a monthly report that has all their leave liabilities, the people that have the excess leave, and then resources telling them how to reduce it and what their legal requirements are. For the managers, they get a monthly report as well when someone goes into excess leave. So they know who in the team is at risk or needs to be sort of accommodated for around the operations of the business. And then for payroll, you get the cash out contract like we've already mentioned. And then the employee also gets educated on what excess leave is, what they should be doing on it. We have a whole heap of training coming in on the back end as well that trains managers and employees as to why taking leave is a good thing. So there's a big automation play there. From that, we can set roles. So for instance, yourselves, if someone signs up, they'll be able to set themselves as they'll be able to invite you as a viewer. So you get the dashboard. And then eventually we'll have a dashboard for yourselves where you'll have all of your clients on and you can just click in, print a report and email it. That sort of functionality. So it's always at a glance. If something isn't worth worrying about, you just move on with your day. And you can get trigger-based emails if they hit a certain threshold that you define as worthy of discussion. Long-term, there's also perks and individual things we'll add into the platform. That's limitless, effectively. There's a lot of products in the market we could add inside the platform. And then the instant cash out functionality based on the approval rules of the business way further down is also something we're looking at as well. Do you have any questions?
This looks good. My question would be, so you said this goes with Xero. Is it live data from Xero? So if someone puts in a leave request, say to Xero, because that's what they're using Deputy and that's what flows through, will that go instantly into BitLeave, or is it like a 24-hour sync, for example?
That's just the way, like we'll build it. So when it's trigger based, it'll push the new data into the BitLeave platform. So for instance, right now, if someone's got leave booked, it actually takes it off the total liabilities because it's already booked and locked in and approved within Xero. So if at the moment something happens, that's just basically a programmatic thing that Kushal will design with how the data needs to be refreshed, and that'll come from advice from someone like yourself as well. If you need it to be an instantaneous thing, it's things we need to factor long term.
Okay. I really like that. I like the fact that you had all the compliance and everything there and was all inbuilt into the software. That looks really good.
How would this?
The features in there, it's like I'm just thinking back to when we used Happy HR, which was quite like great concepts, but clunky user experience. It just sort of seemed like something that would be great built into Happy HR rather than as a standalone.
I was kind of thinking
what the value
like
proposition is of it as a standalone. Like, it looks great, and like, you know, we might use 4 programs to manage a client's sort of payroll and HR needs.
Kind of think it'd be great if they had an onboarding, like if you could have the clients on board from there.
But MicroKeeper was great to use. We were sad when our clients left it. MicroKeeper.
Yeah. But if you had that as because what I'm seeing when a new employees hired, most of the time I'm still chasing for information in a payroll day, and I'm like, I can't pay your employee. So having all that data, having the contract, having the the agreements checked off. I know you set it up with Leap, but that would be a great feature.
If you had everything in
everything
one. Oh, it's the dream, isn't it?
It's the dream, yeah. But then having the leads and managed and set up properly, and as another checkpoint that for security purposes, and that the compliance is right, and that they have ticked all the right boxes, and a system's actually checking it, and then using that for leave and for
well, that's for cash flow management, really, isn't it? Like, what's the value proposition of Bitleaf? That would be to, I mean, we would think of it as something that would help. I mean, for annual leave, it's been cash flow pain, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. They have to manage it.
And tension with employees. And employees are your greatest asset, and if you have ill will over an annual leave disagreement with an employee, they jump.
You mentioned the API being integrated with other platforms. It's also on our roadmap, because we know that we really want to take those 3 features that we mentioned to you to market and then embed them, because like you mentioned, some things are really clunky, but we can provide a really nice user experience off one specific feature and make it use it. So putting that sort of stuff into like, yep, that'll be a long-term, it will get built type thing. How would you use this? You've seen the dashboard, the functionality. How would you use this with your clients?
I don't know if I'd use the emails. I'd probably just get the reports and make I mean, it might be good if they go out, but I would want to communicate it.
I think when we're having our monthly check-in or our fortnightly calls, we'd be showing them this, not having them in the data or in the software, but showing them visually alongside our reports.
But it seems like it's set up for employees and everyone to log in and use, isn't it? It's like a business tool. It's a tool for the business rather than for the accountant.
I guess so.
I don't know.
Sorry,
we're look at it more closely.
No, it's about you being selfish and saying to Brett and Kushal, what do you need it to do, right? It's still early stage, so it's something that they can build. So they're looking at the accounting market as a potential area.
Is like, we don't have the auto set up for the reports to go out to the clients. We have them going to one of our email addresses, and we task them to go through, and then we give the reports to the clients. We don't just have we don't have the client thinking the software does this for me. We have the clients thinking we do it for them.
So do you feel like that's important to maintain, or why is that?
That's why they're paying us $5,000 a month.
Because otherwise they'll leave us and think they could do it all themselves.
So do you not think you add value over and above what the software provides, though?
Oh yeah, because clients don't read their emails, they don't look at their software. I mean, they need someone actually zoning in on what's important, pointing out like the top 3 things, and that's what we do. And like, so a Loom video in a meeting, it's that human communication of look at this.
And answering their questions that they don't understand. Sorry, to cut you off then.
Could you still do that even if the client had access to this? Could you still provide them with, as part of the monthly report, these are the highlights?
Yeah, but occasionally we get a shitty, annoying client who goes, "Oh, I don't like Fathom." And we say, "Well, it's not about Fathom; it's about us." Showing you like what's important to look at, and so we tend to steer our clients away from getting too involved with the software.
I feel it'd be better like if we had control of the software, and maybe they would just have limited access, for example, just to plug in, as you mentioned, the employee details, like if they have a change of address or something, but everything else to be left to us. I feel
it's good them having a bit of a visual dashboard, but I mean, most of our clients, they just need to concentrate on making money and
staying out of this world.
What if it was white labeled for your brand?
Yeah.
Does that change things?
Yeah, that could work. Yeah, that could work.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's about it coming from you.
Yeah, we kind of don't want them thinking, oh, well, all these other systems are doing the work. Why are we paying you guys?
Yeah.
You know,
And
so
do they want to pay for another subscription? Like we don't get it. We pay our client subscriptions. We go, this is the monthly fee.
and then we pay.
And we
everything.
have our own tools that we use to give the clients the reporting and communication that they need.
And then we train them on the software and everything and say, use
Yeah,
this, do it this way.
They pretty much just use Dex or their own sort of
Mhm.
internal like Ben or like you or
Yes.
whatever.
Other
they-
integrations they have to for their other businesses, but yes, so
Okay.
we don't want them breaking the systems. They try to get too smart sometimes and go, oh, I've just fixed it. Like, no,
Yeah.
don't do that.
Whereas Happy HR, they had to be involved with it because we couldn't do HR contracts and things.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So the white labeling, making it your own brand, like those sorts of things, it's more of something you can package with your offering. That's the key part. And then you decide to distribute to relevant clients. Is that where that's where you see the real value of having something that does a lot of the lifting for you, but then you pass that on to your clients as that value add.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. That really helps the model side of things. Jack, that's pretty much all I had off the top of my head.
Cool.
Do you have anything extra, mate?
No, I guess I just want to say thanks, Electra Gayana, and was it Nicole?
Lisa.
Lisa, sorry,
Lisa.
Lisa. Thank you, Lisa. Appreciate that. For your time, but also just as a bit of a reminder, I guess, because in future, if you jump onto these in future again, it is really critical for early stage startups to be able to get this kind of access, to be able to talk to you about what you do and what's difficult and what you're trying to add value to your client, because otherwise we could end up with hundreds of startups building products that nobody wants, but we'd much rather a few products that actually do something that
And I don't
you
know
really
if
need.
our practice model is the norm and it's still a bit experimental, but I think we're going in a direction that many public practice accountants will figure out they need to. My work with the Accountants Academy, this is the kind of Sam Musgrave's Accountants Academy, this is where we're kind of encouraging
Absolutely.
practitioners to sort of model their services and to get more hands-on and involved with their clients' areas
Absolutely.
of pain.
Absolutely. We've spoken to a range of different firms as part of this, and it's about collecting all that information, figuring out who's the ideal customer, where is the pain point the biggest, and then, for Brett and Kushal to go off and solve that. So,
Okay, well,
yeah,
good luck.
no.
Thanks for trying to solve our problems. Good luck.
Appreciate it. No worries. Thank
Thanks.
you very much for your time. Cheers.
Okay.
guys.
Appreciate
See
it.
ya.
Thanks so much, guys.
Yeah.
Okay, Albert. See ya.
Thank
you.
Bye, Jack.
See ya. Well, guys.
That was a tough one.
Yeah, it was a tough one. I think some people just understand what we're trying to get at a bit better than others, in terms of just like, it's not about the product, it's about what you're dealing with today. Whereas I got a sense that they just wanted to see it. And so I might, that's on my end. I gotta educate.
I think it was, no, I don't think it was your fault, man. I think it was 3 people in the one room and Electra wasn't really prepared. I think that's what it was. I think it should have just been Gayana and maybe Lisa.
Yeah.
I think she's kind of like tried to push it down a narrative from the start. I think I'll review it and have a look, but I am happy that they were excited to see it, I guess, because they could see how it fits in their own conceptual understanding of it, which is nice, but it doesn't help a great deal. Makes you feel nice and fuzzy, but
exactly. No, I agree. I mean, there's some interesting stuff in there. Obviously they're trying to offer more value to their clients in this. They're building a new offering, and so it's almost like they're looking for more stuff to add to that offering, to say now it's its own thing and we can charge for it, rather than looking for a problem. They're looking for they are looking for solutions to things, to just add more value to their clients that the client isn't necessarily demanding from them. So
it's, I think the key takeaways was the what, which we have a lot of this stuff on the roadmap as things we have to investigate and validate as well, but the white labeling and how it gets distributed as well, like that's all parts we have to solve.
Yeah, and I mean, there are a lot of stuff in there that I'd say wasn't pro accounting channel, but I would say that there was that the concern keeps coming up, which is cash flow is a major issue for businesses. We knew that already. Leave is a small part of cash flow, but once an accountant has experienced one problem with a client and had them come to them and say, why didn't you tell me about the fact that I don't have enough cash to pay my leave out? You know, like Jason had a similar thing where you only have to have that problem once. And then as an accountant, you're like, that should be on me. I should be doing better. And then you think about finding a solution. The problem is it's not the client demanding it. It's you almost have to have felt the pain as an advisor before you.
Yeah, I've been reading about that too, around how we scale this thing and the education piece we've talked about. But it's almost like if you can then build it in a way that once they feel the pain, it's just literally a couple of clicks of a button and a really attractive pricing model, it'll stay with someone for a very long time and proliferate across multiple clients. Because like Electra said, like you can tell what they do. It's a bit of smoke and mirrors on the service side, because they charge $5,000 service fee a month, and they want to always make sure there's a defendable moat of for the stickiness of their client. Like if we leave them, who else is ever going to do all this sort of stuff? Like it's I can see where it sort of fit. But yeah, whether that what the uptake is and the growth of that was going to be an interesting one, I think, to be honest.
Yep. No, agreed. Cool. So we've got one more call next Tuesday, with Andrew, which is good. He's a great guy. Very innovative firm, very good, thought leader kind of person in the space. So interesting to see, why he's put his hand up to be involved, because obviously this will be our one chance to chat with him.
Yeah,
Cool.
I'm particularly interested about him.